Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to MNW Firing Line, your guide to Multiverse Nexus Wrestling. I'm your host, Jerry Aldini, and joining me in the studio tonight is the returning Pete McPherson.
Hello.
Welcome back, Pete. We've missed you.
Good to be back. Good to be back.
I hope the time off was well utilized.
Sure, we'll go with that.
We'll go with that. Great. And thank you to Hartley Reaper for the 9-month resub. We appreciate you. So let's get into this. We're getting a little bit of a late start. Technical difficulties. You know how it goes. Somebody presses the wrong button. You have to reset everything.
Or somebody presses the button twice instead of once. We don't know.
Yeah, something like that. There was buttons involved. That's all we know. There were buttons involved.
Frank.
Now, usually we like to shoot the breeze about stuff happening in the wrestling world, but we've got a huge show tonight because in just 2 days, it's time for Multivania. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for the biggest show of the year. It's the where legends are made and people become legends. It's Multivania. And what a amazing card we have. And tonight we are going to go over the go-home shows for both Friday Night Flashbang and MNW Warzone. So, without further ado, let's get into Friday Night Flashbang, which started out, let's just be honest, it decided to start off big. Usually somebody comes out, somebody talks, or it's a showcase match. But this week, no. We start out with our former general manager, Hey Mr. Rabbit, accompanied by Nausea, to take on Ravolos of Apex, accompanied by, well, most of Apex, including his friends, Nero and Mizuki Napier. It's, friendship is one thing. Wrestling titles are another entirely. And
just business.
I'm sorry?
Just business.
Just business. Well, and Mr. Rabbit is one of the 7 competitors in the 8-man showcase title match, trying to take the belt off of Nero Napier, a belt he will have held for 1 whole year come this Saturday.
It's a long time to hold belt.
It is I want to say it's a record for it
is certainly a record like reign, let's say.
Yeah, so certainly an MNW record. I don't think any world champion has held it for a whole year. Plus, we have the tag team champions, the Bone Warriors, who will also be celebrating a 1-year reign come Multivania. But for now, let's focus on the might and majesty of Hey Mr. Rabbit, a man so tough he,'s taking on a gorilla.
Now, do we know that he is in fact a gorilla?
He is certainly.
We don't want to be racist.
We don't want to.
He could be a silverback. Oh no, silverback is a gorilla.
Silverback is a gorilla. I mean, there's no. He's certainly not a chimpanzee. That's for sure.
True. Definitely not an orangutan.
Yeah, and he does possess the power of speech.
True.
So he is certainly a great ape.
Not a grape ape.
Not a grape ape. That's a completely different character controlled by Hanna-Barbera. And he is not, also, we know for a fact, a Sasquatch. Speaking of which, thank you to Sasquatch Wing for the 4 months of Prime subbage. We appreciate you too, Squatch.
And Squatch also pointing out, definitely not a monkey, no tail.
Yeah, exactly. So a gorilla. But a gorilla that got pinned by Hey Mr. Rabbit, our part of the Flashbang commentary staff, and a man who is still suspended as general manager. We might be hearing a little bit more about that later in the show. Just saying, there might be a moment that addresses that fact again. Actually, we're coming up on, it's been a while. I'm sure after Multivania there'll be some question about what the status of Mr. Rabbit as general manager might be. I don't know. I mean, the brass moves in mysterious ways. Far be it from me to question. In part because they sign our paychecks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important to bring up. Now,
always important.
Always, I mean, it's still a business. And one person who knows it's a business and whose job it is to keep the wheels of commerce rolling. No, I'm not talking about Sir Uncle Dunk. I am, in fact, talking about the representative of the brass, the one, the only, Mr. Lawson.
Well, I see that Earl King is up to his old tricks again, still bitter as always. But I have a very special announcement to make. Illusions or not. Following Multivania, MNW is happy to announce that Flashbang will once again be fully outfitted with crowds for all vaccinated individuals that wish to partake in a viewing of the show. And we couldn't be happier to be back on the road. Now, that being said, tonight is a big night. We've already heard from our commentary team that we will be having a huge double main event. The trios titles will be defended against one of two teams, either Fabulous or AAA. And we will find out which team will be the fourth team to challenge the Bone Warriors. However, that is not all that we will be finding out here tonight. Tonight, we will also be seeing all 6 of the remaining heavyweight championship competitors in 6-man tag team action, which you will not want to miss. And there will be announcements throughout the night, including who will be taking part in our War Games match at Multivania. 4 members of Fate, 4 members of the Empire, with the losing team not only disbanding, but having to choose a captain that will be sent to Warzone if they lose. So I hope you've made your decisions, and I hope you're ready to announce them here tonight. And finally, before I say anything else, I would also like to wish the Citric King the best of luck in his interdimensional championship match. Because if I'm not mistaken, he seems quite confident, having teamed up with Helix to beat on his competitors, that he is going to retain. But Citric, be very, very careful about underestimating not only Hutch Kale, but Brawl Kaiser. Because I personally would have either one of them defend the multiverse over a rotten fruit.
So, Pete.
Yes.
What match coming up at Multivania are you most excited for? For the Flashbang side. Let's talk specifically Flashbang right now.
Oh, that is a tough one. I don't know. I'd say really just War Games.
I mean, you got to be fascinated. It's like, okay, how are we doing War Games? That could be amazing. I will admit to also being very interested in what is going to come from a 4-way tag team dance. But yeah, I kind of have to go with you as well. I'm really fascinated by War Games, just because I want to see it.
And I mean that, you know, the curiosity and the match type aside, but who is involved in War Games? I mean, you know, when we're looking at the reason why we are having War Games, where the lawyer has gotten so fed up with these factions going at each other that he thinks that the solution is War Games.
He's been pushed to the brink. And we'll be hearing more about that later. But there is another match that we have learned is going to be happening at Multivania that Mr. Lawson didn't bring up in that promo, but is relevant to our next match. And that is we are going to have a King of the Showcase match. That's right, folks. There's going to be 2 different showcase matches at Multivania. Now, while the world title one is getting all the attention, the King of the Showcase match is we've been keeping record since record keeping started happening back in November of 2019. And there has always been a tally of who has won how many showcase matches. So the brass has decreed that the top 8 showcase match competitors who are not already scheduled for other matches will be in this special showcase match, basically for the bragging rights. And this got triggered when Lasume the Robot last week tied Big Rock's record of 4 showcase wins. Now, certain top winners like, well, you know what? I'm not going to spoil other things that are going to happen in the show. Let's just say that certain top showcase match winners are otherwise occupied at Multivania. But we are now going to go to last week's showcase match, which was the last chance for competitors to improve their showcase standing to make the argument that they should be in that special match. And those 8 competitors are Seth Jackson, looking for his first official showcase win. Brandon Boss, looking to enter the number 3 club. Big Rock, the king of the showcases, looking to regain his lead. The Doof, looking to win his first match, period. Aurelian Starhand, looking to put a 2 after his victory. The same with Alexis Edmonton. And then Victor Vicious. Just like Seth Jackson, just looking to end up on the board. And thus, a lot riding here, but, Big Rock obviously would love to regain his undisputed king title. But Big Rock and Lasume, 2 men we know absolutely are going to be in that special match at Multivania. In the meantime, and setting off a trend, the lady Kathagina, who's been having a lot of issues of late, particularly with a certain Omnislayer, makes her first move and gets a pinning predicament on the mercenary Alexis Edmonton. And because of that, and the fact she had to hold her through another pin count, gets the first elimination. You can never count out. I mean, this is one of the reasons why a raging Lady Faye is terrifying.
Indeed.
And then you look at again Big Rock trying to eliminate Victor Vicious, and again get that count. But Victor, we've seen time and again ever since he won his Get Off the Schneid match, Victor is a tough competitor. However, turning our attention back to Kathagina, she gets a 3 count on the Doof, ending his dreams of finally winning a match. Any match. Any match at all. So, just for the record keepers, that's 2 eliminations by Kathagina. And while she's looking for a third on Aurelian Starhand, Seth Jackson gets Brandon Boss into a pinning predicament. But the Boss, not a man to go down lightly. Remember, this is somebody who has been having a good shot at being one of the top competitors. But not this time. Brandon Boss is eliminated. In the meantime, Vicious and Big Rock have been going to war. That's always been a trait of Vicious, if you've noticed. He literally will always go, who's the biggest man? Okay, I'm going after him. I know a lot of people say, oh, he sends out his minions. No, Victor likes to get his hands dirty. Probably is another person who likes to get his hands dirty, usually with pizza grease, is Seth Jackson. And on the ramp, he gets an elimination. Thus, you now have 2 eliminations for Seth Jackson and 2 eliminations for Kathagina. And they're in there with both Aurelian Starhand and one of the most successful showcase winners of all time, Big Rock. Let's not forget, Big Rock also has that Monster Mash victory under his belt. I think that's why he is still called the king of the showcases, despite that now being tied. But then an ankle lock by Seth. And Big Rock taps out. That now means 3 eliminations in this match by Seth Jackson. And the only other person to eliminate anyone is the 2 eliminations by Kath Gina. And at this point, it's just Kath Gina, Seth Jackson, and then Aurelian. And Aurelian then finds himself mixing it up with, I'm sorry, I've been saying it wrong, Seth Justice Jackson. That trademark has been approved. And you think, oh no, he's in trouble. He's knocked down Legs, the ref. But, Legs has been getting really resilient and comes to just in time to count a 3 count. And that is 4 eliminations. 4 eliminations for Seth Jackson, 2 for Kath Gina. So it comes down to these 2 pointing out these are the only people that have eliminated anyone in this match. This match has been all Seth Jackson and Kath Gina. And with an ankle lock on Kath Gina, she taps as well, meaning Seth Justice Jackson wins his first showcase and does so with an impressive 5 eliminations. Not breaking the record of Henry Colt, but still making a good showing. I don't know if it's enough to get into that match at Multivania, but, certainly enough to get everyone's attention. And tweeting out on social media, I wish everyone on the Flashbang roster luck. Just remember, my coworkers, after the biggest show of the year, it's just business. My personal business. Boy, I hope that gets settled after Multivania fairly soon.
Yeah.
Just, Well, with that, there's a truth, and we were discussing this before the show, Pete. There is a simple truth when you're talking about a go-home show, especially a go-home show for a show as significant as Multivania. And that truth is a lot of people have a lot to say. And the next person...
Quite a lot to say.
A lot, well, because it's the last chance to say anything before the big show.
Indeed.
And one of those people that wanted to come down is somebody who's been saying a lot lately. Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourself. It's Suicide Gemini.
And so it seems that I have to step things up to figure out what is wrong with me. Why, nothing seems to hurt the same anymore. The pain is dull. Inflicting it is dull. And I don't know why. So I know how to rectify this situation. At Multivania, I need to beat the streak. Ceteris Basilicus, you have never been beaten, and that is why, at Multivania, the streak needs to die. Your suffering will be sweet, and Samuel Manatee is the perfect man to put you down. Suicide Gemini. I don't believe we've had the pleasure of speaking before, but it seems you still have a lot to say. I think you are being foolish, challenging Ceteris. Whatever your problem is, dying to Ceteris won't solve it. Oh, the Dragonborn! I've seen you, and I've heard you. But you are not as wise as I believed, Wiley. You had a free ticket to be away from the chaos, to be away from the devastation, and yet you're back. Are you even 100% Dragonborn? No. What courses through my veins, much like with Graven, is strange. But that is none of your concern. I am out here to issue a warning, just as I have to those before you. Apex is not to be trifled with lightly. Apex is not to be trifled with lightly. I think you are underestimating Samuel Manatee's ability to beat Satyrus in this ring at Multivania. Why are you protecting the Minotaurs, Wiley? That seems strange. You don't want to help them, do you? I have no desire to help Apex. I never did. To assume otherwise is foolish, young Gemini. But I have issued my warning, and I have no words left for you. So I will take my leave. No, 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 you won't. No, Wiley, it was so simple. Stay on the injured reserve and keep your nose out of this, and it would have been so easy. Why? Why are you so stupid? Because I don't want to see these Minotaurs tear you apart. I have warned people before you about crossing Nero because he will do anything that it takes to take out those who challenge him. And if you value your career and your tag team partner's career, you won't go down this path. Enough. Enough! I have heard you belittle the name of Samuel Manatee. Enough! And I will not tolerate it. Manatee will beat Satyrus, and tonight, I'm going to beat Labris. And if you are so sure about the lacking talent in Hell's Kitchen, why don't you fight me at Multivania? No. I have no quarrel with you, Gemini. I have no reason to fight you. And there is no honor at fighting at less than 100%. I tried that once, and Graven prevailed. I have no need to prove myself again until I have recovered. So you're a coward, Wiley! I see how it is. A dragon born with no dragon balls. Fair enough. If you won't fight me voluntarily, I'll make it happen.
Well, and, true to it.
What was that about? Dragon Balls?
Yeah, I know. And
that didn't sound super at all.
Not at all. No. Although, I don't you think it was a little condescending of Wiley to call him young Gemini?
Well, you gotta also think Dragonborn typically age. So, but yeah, no, it still didn't sound good.
No. But yet it sounded strangely familiar. You know what? What's interesting is what that leads into, which is immediately into the next match, which is Suicide Gemini being accompanied by Samuel Manatee, coming out to face Labris, being accompanied by his brother Satyrus. And this is, and I think part of this, I guess a lot of this is let's prove a point. Let's get in there, and also because setting up the idea of Samuel Manatee taking on Satyrus Basilicus at Multivania in a beat the streak match. Let's remember, Satyrus has not lost a single match yet for any reason whatsoever.
In any way, shape, or form.
No, he is truly undefeated. And with that, it's kind of the reverse of Donkey Kong. Whoever is the first person to beat Satyrus, that's going to be a huge deal. Which, sort of like how everyone would love to see Donkey Kong win, but no one wants to be the person to actually have that particular L in their record.
Yeah.
Which, of course, puts the image of Donkey Kong versus Satyrus, but I think we all like Donkey Kong too much for that.
Well, we certainly wish him to continue living. So.
Yeah. But also, this match is all about Suicide Gemini making a point, and I feel trying to earn the right, or at least make the argument that Samuel needs to go to Multivania and face Satyrus.
Labrys trying to be choked out. Labrys in trouble. Will he tap out?
So this match, I mean, Suicide Gemini, there's one thing we know about him. He has the best pain threshold of anyone on the roster, although I don't know it's properly a pain threshold, as it takes a long time before he stops enjoying it. To that point, you have this moment right here, and there's always the thought, are you going to make him humble? Suicide Gemini didn't tap. He passed out. I'll give Suicide credit. That's pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
And also this, say what you will about Suicide Gemini. He's like, all right, well, I liked that. Holds no hard feelings.
Perhaps might even want more.
Yeah, could be the start of a beautiful friendship for all we know. But we do also know now that we will have that match at Multivania. And by that match, I mean the head chef of MNW, Samuel Manatee, will be taking on Satyrus Basilicus in a Beat the Streak match. We wish all the best for Samuel Manatee. I mean, somebody's got to beat Satyrus at some point. I mean, it's statistical odds. At some point, it has to happen.
Well, sure, but it's a matter of whether or not anyone's going to be around when it happens.
I mean, yes, there are issues. I do know that. I mean, there's the constant. If you're ever in any watch parties or any events or online during a Satyrus match, the question is how long. It's a betting pool of how long will the opponent last. With Henry Colt currently holding the record at 15 minutes, by the way. And with that, well, before we move on with the show, and since that match did involve a member of Apex, now would be the appropriate time to cover one of our fine firing line traditions, that being the Firing Line audio promo of the week. This week, for both sides of the show, with so many people getting ready for Multivania, it was like, who do we pick? Eric Generiksen said, you may have to just play everyone. And it's like, we just don't have that much time on the show, Eric. But in the end, we did make the hard choices. And so, ladies and gentlemen, for the Flashbang audio promo of the week, we give you Jack Andrews.
It's crazy to me how much revisionist history happens here in MNW. Zephyr, you're claiming that I fucked it up by attacking you from behind. Need I remind you that in a tag team match, if you can cast your mind back that far, I know fish don't have great memories, you low-blowed me from behind, so me jumping you, that was a receipt I was cashing in from back then. Now, you want to bring up the fact that we had that fight in that little alleyway, that fateful night, all those months ago. You also seem to be omitting the part where I said, no, I'm not doing this because I was out on a personal night. It wasn't wrestling, it was me, it wasn't Jack Andrews, that was Richard Andrews, the man behind Jack Andrews. But you didn't take that, did you? No. So, when I tried to walk away, you decided, hey, let's just fight. And then you bit off a little bit more than you could chew. And I'll give it to you, Zeph, you're a tough son of a bitch. Here's the problem. You didn't finish me off. In fact, you have invited me now to come after you with absolutely no regret and no sympathy. I am going to hurt you. You need to understand this. I do not care what the brass say. I do not care what Lawyerson says. This is not a storyline. I am going to hurt you. And when I'm done with you, I will then turn my focus to Nero, regardless if he's got the belt or not after Multivania. Because whether it's sanctioned or not, I am going to get my revenge. Oh, and you want to know why I walked out on that match last week? I said it there and I'll say it here. I was wrong, okay, Rabbit? I shouldn't have signed that paper, and I do regret it. Take that for what you will. I'm not here to be liked. As far as I'm concerned, everyone can kiss my ass.
All right, and there you have it. Jack Andrews with his pre-recorded comments on his upcoming match at Multivania. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to leave it at just that. On the phone right now, we have Jack Andrews. What do we even call you? We're no longer calling you the Prince of Wales, Jack. What do we have a moniker for you now?
Yeah, hi guys. Been a while, huh?
Yeah.
What can you call me? I guess you could call me Richard Andrews, because that's who you're currently speaking to, not Jack Andrews.
So you really are making a differentiation between your life outside the ring and your life inside the ring.
Yes, I am.
All right, well then, fair enough, Richard. So you obviously laid out your situation. It's almost, what else could we possibly ask you? You laid out your, let's call it manifesto, very clearly. You're going to finish your issues with Zephyr Tail at Multivania, and then you're going to go for the head of the snake. I'll ask this very straightforward. Looking not at Multivania coming up this weekend, but looking past Multivania. Once you're done with Zephyr, once you've dealt with going through Apex, what are you looking for further down the road?
It's not so much I'm going through Apex as a whole. My only issue is with Zephyr and Nero, because Nero's the one that told his lapdog to do what he did. They're lucky I didn't press charges. When I signed with MNW, I was told they wanted a guy who could get on people's nerves, and I think I pretty much just said, oh, okay, cool, yeah, whatever, like that. Don't know why they already had Scott here, but what am I looking for? I guess we're all going to find out together. Because right now, I just want to do to Zephyr what he tried to do to me. And I don't care if the fans think Apex are the good guys, if they think I'm the good guy, the bad guy. I don't care. Like I said, you can all kiss my ass on that fact. Sorry for the French.
Yeah, all right, well, that's why our show has an adult rating. Well,
some things transcend the ring, and I said in that, like I said in that promo, I did when I was out celebrating with some friends from another company.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it is what it is. If you want to call me on a moniker and anything, you've seen it on my ring gear. You're gonna see the real Jack Andrews.
All right.
I think I'll leave it at that.
Fair enough. And well, yeah, like I said, we're tight on time. So thank you for stopping by, and best of luck this weekend.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Have a nice rest of the show.
Thank you. All right. Well, with that, now that we've got that promo done, let's get to another one. And ladies and gentlemen, a individual who's going to be facing off this weekend for the Interdimensional Championship. It's the Mandalorian Hutch Kale.
You see, there's whispers going around that Brawl Kaiser and I don't deserve the title shot that we were given. That Brawl Kaiser and I were gifted a title shot by circumstance. And I've never been handed a damn thing in my life. And quite honestly, I'm not about to start now. So I came up with a little idea. I don't really give a damn what Brawl Kaiser does in terms of feeling bad about being in this match. It seems he's got his head in the clouds. But Mandalorians don't live in the clouds. Boots on the ground. No fear. And there is one thing that no Mandalorian has ever feared. And that is death. So how about we silence the critics? How about we find out what's stronger? The will of a Mandalorian or death? I know there are very few that have the balls to call you out, but I am issuing a challenge to death itself. I will dismantle your former tag team partner, and I will strip him of the only singles title he's ever held. And tonight, I will prove my worth by putting death in its place. Because there is no fear in my eyes. And I will show everyone watching what a Mandalorian's will is all about.
And with that, after a quick change into his shiny armor, Hutch Kale comes down to the ring to face Death himself, Helix Sucks, the one-time tag team partner of Citra King, the interdimensional champion. And after making comments that as a Mandalorian, he does not fear death. And it's like, okay, you may not fear death, but this man is also a former heavyweight champion, one of the toughest competitors on the roster, but sure, let's go with that.
Yeah.
How dare you?
And yeah, Helix feeling very insulted by that.
And a forearm shot. Helix is still up. Oh, and a hurricane run.
And thanks for the 100 bits from Twitch. Have a good night, and I'll read what you said at the end of the show. With that, this match, back and forth, and you know what? Mandalorians, I know, are known as resilient warriors and capable of great feats, thanks to just indomitable will. But it's still a brave man who gets in the ring with Helix, who you know what? Here's the thing I don't think people have questioned. Yes, Helix Sucks is now part of the Flashbang roster. He cannot be ignorant about what's happening on Warzone. You know, as a former member of the Faces of Fear, as a former member of the New Four Horsemen, as somebody who's been very associated with several individuals who are now making waves on Warzone, he's got to have opinions.
You think so?
Yeah, I'd love to get him on record on what he thinks is going on with the Murder Cave. But for now, I mean, like any good competitor, he's dealing with the match right in front of him. And that match involves dealing with a member of the cartel who wants to be the man who stands at the front line of any interdimensional threats, wants to be the new interdimensional champion. That's Hutch Kale. And then this, just in a moment, just when you think, okay, this is going to get interesting, a very fast inside cradle. And out of nowhere, Hutch Kale rolls up and beats Helix Sucks. You know, I would have expected a lot of things. I didn't see that coming. Now, I know a lot of people go, a lot of people are like, oh, what was that? Or asking if it was fair, but it's like, he got a pinfall.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a straight up victory. I mean, it feels strange, and a lot of people said it was a fast count, but I was looking at the ref. By my eyes, it wasn't. I didn't see it as any faster than a normal count.
It looked pretty normal to me.
Yeah, and trust me, I am no cartel apologist.
Nor I.
But yeah, that happened. So, with that, well, earlier in the evening, we were discussing when we were watching the announcement by Mr. Lawson, and we asked, what match at Multivania on the Flashbang side are you looking the most forward to? And we kind of agreed. Both of us are looking forward to War Games, Fate versus the Empire. And the question is, but who will represent both teams? Well, somebody's now come into the ring with maybe some answers on that. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Artemis.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I know what you've all been waiting for, and it is to find out who is going to be representing Fate at War Games. And this is not a decision that was easy. In fact, some of the guys that we might have picked have other priorities. I mean, we can't pick Jagger. We can't pick Graven. We can't pick Henry. Some of the biggest hitters in Fate, some of the guys that have been here doing this since day one. And so after long... Oh, this should be rich. Artemis, the Apprentice Omnislayer, or have you actually graduated? I'm not really sure. That's all right, I don't really care. I'm just out here because I'm interested in which leftovers you've decided to pick. I think you've said it pretty much as eloquently as you could. Yeah, see, I figured you'd come out here eventually and run your mouth, so I'm glad you just didn't interrupt me right off the bat. But yeah, I got 4 guys. And I'll start with the easiest one. I'm one of the 4. Because I've been looking to whip all y'all asses for a long time. And that's why I'm out here. Because not only am I the first guy, I'm the captain. Yes, the disgraced Omnislayer sent his protege to be a captain. It's going to be a shame when he loses you to Warzone. What a travesty. They picked you. Were you even in Fate when this all started? You, Artemis, you're the captain. That's the best that they could do. The best they could do? Why don't you go ask the Cleaver what the best I can do is when I whooped his demonic ass from here all the way to Breakdown? Why don't you ask him if I deserve to be the captain? You need to know your role and shut your mouth and put some respect on my damn name. Sorry, I didn't mean to strike a nerve. My mistake. I'll tell you what, I'll do you a favor, Artemis. Since you've already announced that you're in the match, I can announce some of our members. The Cleaver and Lord V, the Abyssal Void. And this time, the Cleaver won't make the same mistake twice. He will bury you alive. The Abyssal Void, how predictable. But I'll tell you what, Earl King, you ain't the only one that can bring a tag team to this fight. There's somebody, 2 guys, that really want to get their hands on you. So you want to bring out the Abyssal Void? Will allow me to bring out the Troll Train of Johan and Tiki the Troll. The Troll who has all of the ring rust, and Johan who's so mentally scarred we haven't even seen him over the last 3 weeks. The Troll Train, the Abyssal Void is going to run through them. But you're probably wondering who's the third. I have chosen Aurelian Starhand after his performance here tonight. Oh, good. That's real good. I'm glad Starhand's going to be in there, because he's always seemed like the odd man out, and he's going to be real easy to take out because he's already got his mind on the next prize. I promise you that. But that's okay. What's the matter? Popo too upset about getting whooped by the creation? No, he's not. And in case you're wondering who the last member of the Empire's team is, there's so many to choose from. But you're not the only one with men down. Hyrold is busy. The Grim Reaper is busy. And so I have made the executive decision to be the fourth member myself and to captain my own team.
Well, so there we go. We know who the men are that are going to be facing off in War Games. Or I should say, we almost know. And that's because, do you notice Earl King got so caught up in announcing himself, he didn't give Artemis a chance to name Fate's fourth member.
Ooh.
And that's like, really? He got so obsessed with announcing himself and he'd be his team's captain that he never gave Artemis a chance. And it's not that Artemis held back. Earl King just ran roughshod over him. So, yeah, that means that there's now, and this is like, well, who's left in Fate? I mean, there's a few people that could be called upon. But at this point, we know, so Artemis will captain Fate. Earl King West will captain Empire. Whichever team loses has to disband, and that the team captain has to go to Warzone. And with commentary on that, Lady Kathgina tweeted out, everyone is getting a ticket on a one-way train. As far as I'm concerned, Earl King and Artemis are lucky. They will soon be out of my reach. And now, looking at the makeup of the other team members. So you have Aurelian Starhan, who's always been around. He's definitely been a presence for the Empire. We saw him earlier tonight in that showcase match. The Troll Train, I know that Earl King was trying to throw shade on the Artemis, or on Tiki and Johan, but if Tiki has ring rust, it hasn't been showing up in his performance since he got back.
Yeah, no, they've been seemingly void of said ring rust.
Yeah, and well, Johan, I think Johan would give a lot just to have a chance to be standing in a ring with Wes. And then the Abyssal Void. Well, I mean, I'll give Earl King West this. The Abyssal Void, they're a great choice for this kind of match. I mean, they're two of the big powerhouses of the Empire. And if you want to make some kind of statement and you want to give yourself odds, they're a good choice. However, that still leaves the question of who's the fourth? And while we ponder that, let's head to the ring for the next match, which actually involves people who are going to be part of the conflicts between the Empire and Fate at Multivania. We start off with the Creation being joined by members of House Caliban, who will be facing the Beast High Rolled, and the Lord V being accompanied by the Cleaver, who, as we know, will be in that War Game match. Also, let's not forget these two. There's a long history between the Creation and Lord V, dating back to Lord V's debut match, which was against the Creation, which he won using the Creation's own move, the Graveyard Smash. This led to a long back and forth rivalry between the two, and one that never really got settled. And of course, once the Empire kidnapped the Creation and put Hyrold's brain in his body, they had that version team up with Lord V as a tag team before the formation of the Abyssal Void. In fact, they were in the tag team tournament. So there's a lot of history between these two, but they are two of the powerhouses of the entire Flashbang roster, two of the most feared competitors. And during this match, at least 3 times each, they slapped their finishing moves on each other and got out. Lord V is one of the people, again, you can count on one hand the number of people that have gotten out of the Wheel of Pain. But now you have to point out that Lord V has done it several times in one match. Now, we've seen people break out of the Wheel of Pain before, once, and then have it slapped on later in the match, and that's ended the match. But this is the first time that somebody has faced the Wheel of Pain multiple times in a match, more than 2. And this match just went on and on so many times you thought, well, it's over. However, this is not without interference between the Cleaver several times distracting either the ref or the creation. But at one point, even Thunderbolt getting involved to even the odds, as it were. But after a long, drawn-out battle with more finishing moves than we've seen outside of a pay-per-view, in the end, Lord V got one more Void Slam on the creation, as we see right here. And once he got that last, I want to say this was the 4th Void Slam that he hit on the creation, and that was just one Void Slam too many. And so Lord V is heading into Multivania with some momentum, heading into that War Games match, and the creation, has to buck up from this loss to be ready for his match against the Beast High Rolled and some form of retribution over his ordeal he faced last year. Frankly, Pete, it's insane.
Well, and unfortunately, that insanity is what you can come to expect this close to Multivania.
It's you never know. So either way, this is it. This is the Fate versus the Empire. Come Multivania, and we saw this last year. It was the Republic versus the Empire in that match, which saw the end of the Republic, which is still a year later sending shockwaves through Warzone and what has happened with the remnants of the Republic. But let's pause at this for a second. If Fate loses and they have to disband and Artemis goes to Warzone, I mean, that'll be a shock and that'll be a loss for Fate. If the Empire loses, not only do they have to disband, but Earl King West has to return from whence he came to Warzone. Where let's look at this for a second, Pete. Warzone, where if I haven't missed my guess, he is still technically listed as an official member of Nakama Worldwide.
I do believe you are correct, sir.
So there's all that and all his history with Trashman Jones. Plus, it's Warzone where the remnants of the Empire are, where Sir Uncle Dunk is, and Sir Uncle Dunk going on a rampage because, in part through hostility at what happened after that stunning loss. Sir McCheese, who would love to get some retribution on part of the Empire, and the man he didn't have to face back then, Probanaga. And that disregards all the other people that might have various beefs from the past with Earl King. I'm going to be honest with you. I think Earl King has a lot more to lose come Multivania than Artemis does. Of course, if the Empire wins, then there's no Fate to defend against them. I mean, that'll be a whole different set of problems for Flashbang. So,
yep.
I know that there's a tweet from Kathgina. Jerry, I believe he got out of the Nakam Worldwide thing. If anyone knows how to break a contract, it's Earl King. Kathgina, we can have people check, but I don't think you're correct in this case.
We will have to look further into that.
I mean, the last time I heard, there was talk about if there was going to be a cross-faction event, was the fact that Earl King that the paperwork to remove him was never processed because it had to be submitted by Trashman Jones, who didn't care. And from what I know, Wes wasn't too concerned because he was no longer on the roster. Thus, he was out of Trashman's reach. So, I mean, we can push it up to the brass to see what the official word is, but no, I think he's still officially, I think technically, on a pure technicality, I think technically he is a member of Nakamura Worldwide. And, of course, being technically right, as we all know, is the best form of right.
It's true.
And with that, well, we have, as we said, this is just a night everyone had something to say. And one of those people, and yeah, Lawson referenced him earlier in the evening. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your interdimensional champion. It's the Citric King.
So first of all, Hutch, I think you are absolutely worthy of facing me for my championship. And tonight you rolled up Helix, not the most convincing win, but semantics, you won. And I think you absolutely deserve to go to Multivania to fight me. You are a worthy competitor. And Brawlkaiser, I'm kind of disappointed because I'm actually a fan of yours. Like, I like what you're all about, and those are some really hurtful words because I think you too are worthy. You never got pinned in that match with Aristocratic Canid and, what's his name? The Dragon. Like, you never got pinned in that match. I think you are both incredibly worthy of this opportunity. So I apologize if I've done absolutely anything to make it seem like you guys shouldn't be going to Multivania. You absolutely deserve the spots that you have. Where you are and the talent that you have presented on this show, you are exactly where you belong. On the B show. Because while I respect the fact that you can earn your opportunity to fight for this belt, what you can't do is beat me for it. And I think that's what people are misunderstanding. And I don't mean to get aggressive. I don't want to be aggressive. I want to keep my cool. But that's what it boils down to. As worthy as you are to fight me, neither of you can beat me. And I'll prove it at Multivania.
Do you remember, Pete, do you remember the days when we thought he was a nice guy?
Yeah.
When I was like, oh, Citric King's here. That's nice. I like Citric King. Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah. Halcyon days.
Yeah, I think fondly on those days. So, yeah. Well, be that as it may, we still have a lot to go through tonight. So much to go through. Then this next match. All right, so earlier in the evening, we saw Mr. Rabbit face Revolos with Nero Napier at ringside. 2 of the 8 competitors in the World Title Showcase match happening at Multivania. Well, as Mr. Lawson promised, we're now going to the ring to see a match that is going to feature the other 6 competitors in 3-on-3 tag team action. And that is El Pollo de la Muerte, Jagger Blackthorn, and Graven facing off against Scott E. Stevens, the Grim Reaper, and Nitzig Gunk Gobbler. And I see how the decision was made here. I mean, with El Pollo, Jagger, and Graven, you basically have either members of Fate or people who are at least, or in El Pollo's case, if not a full member, at least Fate adjacent. And then you've got Grim Reaper, Scotty Stevens, and Nitzig, who are not. So I'm sure that was the logic and nothing else.
Nothing else.
Nothing else. Not at all. I'm sure there was no consideration of certain behaviors from any side on what would make a good matchup. And on the other hand, these are, let's remember, all 6 of these people, through various means, earned the right, won matches, went through, in some case, grueling competition to qualify for this. A Grim Reaper had to go through 3 different matches to earn his right to go to this show. Scott E. Stevens had to qualify in a match to qualify for a one-on-one opportunity for this match. So it's just been El Pollo was in two different matches for opportunities for this. These people have fought. Graven had to petition the brass for an opportunity because of his current medical condition. These are people that wanted this opportunity badly. And so here they are, and this is their last chance to showcase their talents before Multivania. But also, when you think about it, a very strange mashup, because while we have these people teaming up in their tag teams for this match, come Multivania, it's every man for himself. So, and it's how much will they get along? I mean, we saw in recent weeks, we saw El Pollo and Scotty Stevens as a tag team leading up to this match. We have seen just so many different iterations of how this could work out. But all in the end is just flavoring and anticipation leading up to the final decision in the main event at Multivania. And with a 3 count, we now have the Grim Reaper getting a win for his team, meaning going into Multivania. So these three, as well as Mr. Rabbit, are all going into Multivania with a little bit of momentum on their side. So with that, and oh, hang on, Pete, phones. I mean, if I'm getting a note from Phyllis. Oh, hey, this has been a while. Hang on. Hello, you're on Firing Line.
Yeah, I'm still gonna get how much I asked for, right?
I'm sorry.
All right, I'll expect to see the limo.
I think you're on the Scott.
Sorry. Hello. Good evening. Good evening. Sorry, I was on another call while I was on hold with you guys. Good evening, Firing Line. How is everybody doing? I'm sorry it's been so long since you guys heard from me. I have been so busy. My phone has been ringing nonstop for weeks. Ever since things have been back up and going here in my home dimension, everybody's been trying to get a hold of me. Everyone's calling me and saying, Scott E. Stevens, we're trying to get people back into the arenas to come see our wrestling shows. We need to have you in our main event. We need to have you fighting our top stars. What can we do to get you in? And I've been scheduling. I've been scheduling appearances. I've been scheduling matches. I've been scheduling clinics, all kinds of stuff. The dimension, and multiple dimensions, by the way, are calling me. The dimension I just spoke to, they want to send me a limo, and they sent me a picture of the limo. And I kid you not, the limo is a literal cat. Like it's just a giant, really long cat, and it has, I think, like 6 or 7 sets of legs. It's insane. I've never seen anything like it in my entire life. Anyway, what are we talking about?
I guess we're talking. Really, we could talk about that match we just looked at where your team won, but I think we should talk about what's really important right now, Scott. And we don't have a lot of time, so we need to make it quick. But
that makes no time anyway. In fact, you've got 60 seconds.
All right. So main event, Multivania, night 1. 8-man showcase match for the world title.
Right,
you're in it. Tell us what you're thinking.
I'm thinking that Graven's probably gonna be the first one taken out, judging by what we just saw just now from last week's match. And I'll tell you, it went by so fast. I got to the arena just in time for the match, and then as soon as the bell rang, I rolled out and I got my stuff packed and I had to go because I had like 3 more appearances to make. But yeah, Graven, you're not at 100%. Like, you've got all the heart, that's great, but that's not going to win you the match. That's going to get you more concussions, dude.
All right. So I guess
he'll be the first one out, and Nero will probably be the last one out, and then I'm going to win.
Fair enough. I would expect nothing less. All right. Well, since we have we're tight on time, we got to make things march. Last thoughts before we move on with the show.
Yeah, while I've got everyone's attention, shit, I gotta go.
Oh. All right, well, yeah.
And now I feel like I'm truly back.
Yeah. Well, as I said, we do have to, you know, and I hate to do this to you, Pete, but we're going from Scott E. Stevens to Jack the Questionable.
But when I put on a lucha mask, all of a sudden I'm the bad guy. And you're part right. When I'm hired to be the bad guy, I am the bad guy. You know, what I've noticed is a lot of you are upset by what I do, but you're not so upset at who hires me. You see, that's the job of a mercenary. It's not to pick out the good guys and the bad guys. It's to do a little bit of a price comparison and pick out the best deal for you. To negotiate yourself a better deal, pitting people against each other. Maybe the bad guys simply have more money. So at Multivania, I'm sure I will be hired beyond a shadow of a doubt to do something awful. And I want to get ahead of the curve. I will probably do it in a mask. I will probably do it for a hefty fee. And what it shows is that you people clearly don't know. You'll forgive me, Jack, for coming out here, but I could not help but notice that you seem to be a man of your word. Is that correct? If you take a job, you get the so-called you get the job done. Is this accurate? Am I at least close? Because if you were to break your word, it would be useless. Well, I'm not sure what it is that you are getting at. Yes, I am a man of my word. When I sign a contract, when I give my word, it is binding. And so, yes, I would say that your statement is correct. However, I don't understand why you decided to cut me off. So please explain yourself. Let me take you back a little while. Let's see. It would have been June of 2020. Oh, we're in June now. Like we are right now. So about a year ago, you gave AAA your word. Do you remember what you said by any chance? A year ago. You're going to bring up something that I said a year ago. Really? And you remember exactly what it was? What? Please enlighten me, El Pollo. What did I say exactly a year ago in June that you are clearly so knowledgeable of? You said, and I quote, "So I'm trying to be nice again, and since I lost to El Pollo, I now owe 3 favors to AAA. That means Demolition, Fox, El Pollo, and Slamfibian all have favors from me collectively. And I think AAA is ready to cash in on you, Mr. Questionable. There are some things we need taken care of." I see. I unfortunately do remember this particular conversation. So you, Demolition Fox, and the Slamfibian. Great. I don't suppose you're going to reveal all those favors all at once, are you? No, you see, Jack, I've noticed you like to play dress-up, so my request is very, very simple. I'm going to have a special outfit made for you for Multivania, and you're going to wear it, no matter what. As for Demo and Slamfibian, I've talked to them. The Slamfibian does have a request, too. They want you to give any information you know about the Outlaws and their attack on Apex or whoever they've been attacking. Give that to Omnislayer. You want me to snitch on fellow mercenaries? The Outlaws weren't involved in attacking Apex. They attacked DeLuna, and they ran over the PM Ghost. So, that notwithstanding, I don't have any information about the Outlaws and who they work for. I see what you're doing. I see exactly what you're doing. You want me to find information. All right, El Pollo. I will sit down and have a conversation with this Omni Geek. So, that being said, figure out what Demolition Fox wants and let me know. I don't have time for that. Wait, I have a match at Multivania. Wait, who am I fighting? Whatever. I'll wear your stupid outfit.
And yeah, okay.
Huh?
I can't wait to see. Can't wait.
Nor
I have suspicions of what's going to happen, but yeah, I'm going to let him sit there. I don't want to spoil the surprise. Also tweeting out on social media, Kathleen, I kept hoping Jagger would end up get sent to the ICU during this match. I was greatly disappointed, Jerry, but enjoyed the outcome of the match. How very predictable. Well, with that next match, there's so long to go. So much happening in this go home show. And this match, features Spectre Sonata and the Guild. Why is this important? Well, you have to figure out this. I'm trying to remember what. Oh, wow, so much is going on. I've forgotten which matchup they were trying to qualify for. There. Hang on, let me get to my notes. Because I do have notes. But yeah, this is for the opportunity. I want to say this is for the tag team matchup. I could be wrong. No, I'm not wrong. Yes, this is to determine who will face the Bone Warriors as the fourth team to go after their belts at Multivania. So for a minute there, I was getting confused with who was going to take on. There's so much going on, Pete. So much.
Who's the unlucky, lucky opponents for the Bone Warriors?
Well, you can say that, but I mean, this is going to be a matchup. I mean, this is one of those tough ones because it is a 4-on-4 tag match. Whoever wins this match, combined with the Mad World and Apex, represented by Crimson Phoenix and Revolos, take on the Boars. So that is a total of 3 teams that Spike and Burden will have to keep their eyes on. And this, Spike and Burden don't have to be involved in that decision. So there's those are situations, those are the worst situations if you're a champ. It's like you could lose your belt through no fault of your own. You could put on the best performance, but if one of the other guys is weak to the other guy, you still lose your belt. So, it's, but you need things like that after a year when you've gone roughshod through everyone, be it the Bone Warriors, be it Nero Napier. You have to look at situations to maybe possibly give the other guys a chance. In this case, though, the Guild makes the cut. So at this point, it is going to be Zach DeWeaver and the Curator going after those tag belts at Multivania, along with the 3 other teams we listed, which is the reason why the Curator, one of the top Showcase winners, will not be in the King of the Showcase match. So with that, the next moment we're going to look at, because we got to make it March. Well, the next one, there's certain people, when you give them a microphone, you got to go, we got a big show coming up. Why is this person taking up air? But you know what? I'm not the decision. I don't book who gets to talk. It's not my decision. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Doof.
Greetings, Flashbang! It has been so long since I've had an opportunity to come out here and speak to you all. I, Doofington of the Doofington Estate, have a proclamation to make, and don't you dare try to interrupt me as I make this proclamation. You see, I have noticed a pattern of the tag match that just happened. A tag match that happened on Warzone. And I now have a glorious opportunity that I must take advantage of. I will stake my claim at Multivania with one very specific match that has never been seen before. You see, I have seen the Funky Beats lose in tag team action, so they're not going to Multivania. I saw Spectre Sonata lose, so they are not going to Multivania. And what do all of those teams have in common? Think about it. Think about it! That's right! They all dance. I am challenging Defunk and the Bad CG Ghost and whoever else claims to be the Lord of Dance to a dance-off at Multivania! And I will prove that my budget and my talents are beyond what any of you can do. I will dance like I have never danced before. I am taking on all comers in an MNW dance-off. Dance if you dare.
So with that, we're getting a dance-off.
Dance.
Wow. Okay, so we know it's going to be the Doofus challenged Bad CG. He's challenged Defunk. We'll have to see in the next match whether or not the Sugarfoot Iron is free. Who else? I mean, Milsner, possibly. I can think of a lot of people
sure.
who could dance.
Milsner, yeah, sure.
Yeah, Milsner gets down, gets funky.
I was going to say, he's primarily a DJ, but no, if you see him walking to the ring, he's got some moves.
Yeah, he styles into the ring. I think the only
and
person I would say.
No, wait, that's somebody else.
Yeah, no. You know what? Let's get on. We have. You know what, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to go through. We may actually have to go over tonight because we have
perhaps
so much to go through. But here is the penultimate match of the evening, the co-main event, and that features AAA going up against Fabulous, Joseph Cowman, Sugarfoot Iron, and Fuck Him Wang taking on Demolition Fox, Otora Azul, and Sheepy. And the winner of this match faces Doom at Multivania for the Trios Championship. Now we know, and we'll see this during the Warzone section, that it is going to then be members of the Absolute Units and perhaps another team facing off for a match to take on the belt holders post Multivania. But we'll get into that later in the evening. For now, it is these three teams and three powerful teams. I mean, you have seeing a Toro Azul go up against Fuck Him Wang. You got to remember that the Wang is definitely the power forward of Fabulous. Best record, best win rate, person who can take on the biggest competitors. And then you've got Cowman going after Sheepy, another absolute powerhouse. And then finally you have our utility players in Sugarfoot Iron and the Demolition Fox. And yet, after that last promo we heard, let's be honest, the Doof has got to be watching this match with great anticipation, rooting for AAA, because then that means maybe he gets to take on Sugarfoot Iron in that dance-off that was just announced. How are we going to have a dance-off? Are they going to bring a disco floor into the middle of the ring? What are they going to do, Pete?
I have no idea.
Damn. So yeah, it's going to be a powerful night. But in the meantime, more importantly, those trios championships, because I mean, we know what happened last time somebody took on Doom for those belts. Now, the good news is neither of these teams have actually actively annoyed Doom. And in this case, it's going to be Triple A.
At least for the most part, we've steered away from people attacking Xerxes backstage. Unfortunately, most people seem to have learned at least that much.
Learn that lesson, yeah. Just in the last go around when it was so much attacking them, and oh wait a minute, I'm getting a phone. Let's see if this call works. Hello, you're on Firing Line. Okay, so I'm just hearing maybe fire crackling. Oh wait a minute, I'm getting a text now. Click do. Oh, it was from Michael Macabre. Okay, but he apparently he's in the apocalypse right now, so we can't reach him. All right. Well, with that, we have one last match. So AAA going to Multivania to challenge Doom for the Trios Championship. Yeah. I mean, in this, like I said, in this case, at least none of them have been actively annoying Doom. So Doom will probably look at it, I'm sure, as great fun. I also really look forward to whatever sheep jokes that might get made at the behest of a certain Pumpkin King. But on the other hand, I mean, there's the great point that, the Sheepy has been, now that I think about it, because, we've talked to this before, what Sheepy, we've learned a lot of the truth of Sheepy. A lot of people were wondering, what is this defective sheep we see out there? Well, hey, he's not that defective. He's a child's imaginary friend brought to life through the sheer power of belief.
And at some point, some Cthulhu might have gotten in there, but we're not entirely sure. We don't ask too much.
It's a kid. The kid might have read a lot of Lovecraft.
I mean, there is love and there is crafts in there.
Yeah, so that's not somebody I would count out against. Yeah. You know what? Let's get on to that last match. And this match is going to... Well, I'm sorry. I miscounted. That was the last match. I have lost track of all life. That was it. So we're now at, actually, the Flashbang Moment of the Week. But before we get there, ladies and gentlemen, a word from our sponsor.
Firing Line tonight is brought to you by Lacta Tanks. Feel the warm, milky, healing, Jesus-powered goodness that is Lacta Tanks. Step inside or be thrown in forcibly by registered Anon after you've gotten the shit beaten out of you by multiple people in one wrestling match. We swear nobody has ever died in a Lacta Tank. What is the Lacta made of in the Lacta Tank? We have no fucking clue, but we enjoy it anyways, and you will too. Lacta Tanks, come feel our warm, creamy, healing Jesus goodness.
Hutch able to avoid disaster. Kick to the gut. Back elbow. And now a neck breaker from Hutch. And saying it's time. Oh, look out here! Inside cradle! Inside cradle, 1, 2! Oh my god, he got him! He got Helix! Helix can't believe it! Hutch just rolled him up! The crafty newcomer!
He did it! Jose!
Here is your winner, Hutch K! And Helix saying, how was that 3?
Jose!
Yeah, I mean, you got to pick something. And, I'm getting a further text from... it's Michael Macabre. Be warned, AAA, the versatility of a single word. Be wary of the commandment of the multiverse, and tread carefully because your fox isn't as innocent as you assume he is. He assisted the cyber controller, therefore he put his nose where it didn't belong. commandment stands for that reason, and the Fox thought we'd forget. Uh-oh. Just when we were saying, no, they didn't screw with... Okay. Well, we have to keep moving on. So Pete, you know, of course, that due to various commitments, our friend Joe Mojo had to step away from production and is currently not producing the Callout. And we were looking at, okay, well, we've got to find ways to fill that gap. A couple people came in this week. So I don't know if you know Marty the intern.
I've heard of Marty. I don't know if we've formally met. But
so Marty went around and did put together his own special call out, which was great. But then we got a tape that said special call out with special red in red Sharpie.
Well, it's got to be.
Yeah.
Legit.
So, and what we decided is we did some listening, and what I'll say is one was very Flashbang focused and one was very Warzone focused. So we're going to play both. First, we're going to start with since we're coming off of Flashbang, we'll start with the Flashbang one, and then we'll go immediately into. Then we'll set up and do the Warzone one, because that sounds fair. So
that sounds fair to me.
Yeah. So if you're ready, here's our first special call out. Thanks to Marty the intern.
Man, the writers really outdid themselves here. What? Oh, we're live? Shoot. Guys, gals, and non-binary pals of the multiverse, my name is Marty, and I recently had the wonderful pleasure to speak with a few of the contenders for Nero Napier's belt about their upcoming match at Multivania. I found each competitor in their respective places, and I'll ask them the same, albeit vague, question. Simply, what are your thoughts about the match? First up was the cartel's very own Nitzig Gunk Gobbler, who was, well, a man of very few words.
I think it's time I got me a new lizard skin belt. Everybody else can just sit back and watch the show.
Next up, I took a bit of a jaunt over to the Empire side of the building and, had me a little talk with the Grim Reaper.
Come on in. Welcome. So, you wanted an interview with me. So here we go. Each and every of the other competitors has a strong suit of their own, but each of those competitors will be rest to sleep of eternity. So I, the Grim Reaper, will stand above them all. Is there any doubt about my words? I don't have to address them anymore. I did this in my other promos, so listen to them.
After my discussion with the Grim Reaper, I figured the most sensible course of action would be to seek out the man who would go to any means to end the Empire, the man who buried Dark Lord Prinny, Graven Allen. He, broke my recorder. So, to be honest with you, I don't actually have an interview ready with him. So, instead, up next we have the Omni Slayer himself, Jagger Blackthorn, who had a bit of a warning for his fellow competitors regarding the upcoming match.
Nero's the leader of Apex. He'll probably pull out all the stops, so everyone should be wary of his tricks and mind games. If I were the other 6, I'd be wary of Apex interference.
Regarding Jagger's warning on Apex interference, I figured the next course of action would be to go find Nero Napier, the champ himself. I didn't get an interview with him either. He was a bit too, busy to talk with me. So instead, here's a dramatic reenactment of how our conversation went. Hello, Mr. The Nero? I'm here to record an interview with you.
Nero, and I hate interns. I'm gonna put you in the coil.
Oh no, Mr. Nero! Don't put me in the coil, Mr. The Nero!
I'm Nero Napier, and I'm putting this intern in the coil.
Oh no, my leg and/or my neck. I'm not entirely sure which part of me hurts. It all kind of hurts at this moment in time. Oh no!
I'm Nero Napier, and I'm gonna beat everyone at Multivania.
That Nero, I'm still in a lot of pain. Anyways, up next, I went and spoke with El Pollo de la Muerte about their input on the upcoming match.
A couple of weeks ago, I said that our fates were intertwined, and it seemed that they may be more so than I said. The majority of both AAA and Apex will be busy this weekend, which means that there will be no one to interfere, no one to tilt the scales, no one to protect you, Serpente. It will be just you and me and the other people in the match. May fate and destiny shine favorably upon one of us, my friend. La muerte comes for the other. I will see you in the ring, Serpente.
With El Pollo's words fresh in my mind and a bit less of a limp in my step, I then went out and sought Mr. Scott E. Stevens. I didn't get an interview with him either. He slammed the door in my face. Nearly broke my nose, in fact. It was incredibly rude. It still kind of hurts. So, barring that, I only had one individual left to interview. I went and sought out the MNW Flashbang former general manager, Mr. Rabbit.
Hey everybody, Rabbit here. What are my thoughts about the 8-man match for Nero's belt? Well, not a whole lot. There's a lot of good combatants, a lot of strong people. It's a real who's who's, and I'm going to go ahead and be in there as well. And, man, that is a thinker. That is a stumper. What are my thoughts? The thoughts are, I'm going to go ahead and beat all of them. I'm going to give Nero his first loss by pinfall, and then I'm going to go ahead and grab that belt. Because when I grab that belt, that'll allow me to fix so many problems in Flashbang. And that is priority number one right now. Priority number one. I need that belt. You have no idea how much of a linchpin that's going to be for me. Thank you very much.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Rabbit has staked his claim on the belt. We're going to have to see how things play out, but that's everyone I was able to interview. Frankly, 5 out of 8 ain't bad. That's a passing grade, I think. Regardless, thank you all so much for joining me tonight. My name is Marty, and if you want to see the outcome of this match, you're going to have to tune in to Multivania this weekend, Saturday, July 3rd, and Sunday, July 4th. I hope you all have a pleasant evening. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Listen, Semjax, I'm your advocate and all, but an interview without like a week's notice, I'm out of my depth.
I do believe our contract states that you will do exactly what I require you to do, Mr. Temple.
This is beyond my pay grade. At least send me to a nice steakhouse. I kill for a T-bone and a baked potato.
Just sit there. Read the cards once they enter and go from there. Your interviewee will be arriving shortly.
Hold on a second. If I'm not interviewing your pale ass, then who the fuck is it? Okay. Oh, great night and evening. Mike is hot. Hello, and welcome to a special Bloodline edition of the Callout. I'm the man with the questions, Taylor Temple. With me is my lovely guest, the right hand and the looker of the Conquest Bloodline, everyone's dream golf girlfriend, Lady Boots.
Thank you for having me, Taylor. I desire more loving ears that drink in and acknowledge my perfection.
You said it, Toots.
Oh, please. Your mistress will be fine.
Yes, my apologies, my mistress. Now, on to the first question. Where you from?
I was born into luxury. I was the only girl in my family, so I was Daddy's little princess. Growing up, My passions led me to becoming a luscious dominatrix and an avid wrestling fan. Both fed into my sadistic nature. During my time in the Indies, I was approached by an MNW scouter and was offered a contract right then and there. In my excited haste of being in the big time, I didn't read the damn fine print. Turns out I was signed on to be a manager, not a wrestler.
Gotcha. I'm very familiar with the fine print. Say my ass plenty of times.
I ended up being one of the first faces in MNW back when it started. I had to be the babysitter for Malovic, Citric King, and worse, Probunaga. I remember him putting me on marketing, selling his merchandise like those ugly bobbleheads. His Bobble Naga dolls.
Oh, those boxes in the back collecting nothing but dust. Saw a rat sleeping in there.
Then I had to manage both Jungles and Gorm. You can't imagine the amount of screaming and fighting. I was glad the Greenskin was given the boot, and Big Guy and I stuck together. Then came Sam Jacks. He offered me a deal to help me get in the spotlight and on the map of MNW.
Side note, didn't you technically wrestle as Feel Good Inc.?
When my contract was up for renewal, I demanded the legal team to make me an actual wrestler. But Feel Good Inc. was a, nice band-aid over the issue, but I wasn't satisfied.
But how did you...
I fought against many faces of MNW, old and new. Even the women like, Kelly, my rival, my most favorite plaything.
So, recently I've been seeing you in the ring, doing what you wanted to do. Care to give me any details?
My contract was extended again. It was the last straw. I am a goddamn wrestler, not some eye candy nor someone's ring girl. I enticed them to sing things my way. I showed everyone I'm more deadly than my stand. Especially for that fake feminist, spotlight hogging Wilson. I don't need his handicap. He knows I'm better than him, cause I beat him fair and square. His fake progressiveness was an insult to the female wrestlers of MNW. He said he was helping the women of Warzone, saying he held back. The only one who actually needed the handicap was you, Wilson.
I see. What do you think the future holds for you?
When you get down to brass tacks, being a dominatrix and a wrestler is quite similar. I dish out pain, and they all submit to me. I fought against former champions, and I crushed them under my heel. It's only natural that I'd be the first female champion of MNW.
All right, my mistress, one last question. Anything you want to say to your big fans? Seriously, who the fuck would want to be fans with this crazy broad?
I'm sorry. Was that part of the question?
Shit. No, not at all, my mistress, not at all.
That's right. To all my adoring fans, clients, and everyone who's been smitten by me, I have plans that go beyond Multivania. There will be change. Change that MNW will never see coming. Everyone will be on notice. The newbies, my rival, and the brass. They will all reckon my name through temptation and corruption.
Note to self, find ways to make new pants while living here. That's about the time we have on this call-out show. Watch Lady Boots and all the Conquest Bloodlines on MNW Warzone every Saturday on twitch.tv/Takahata101. I'm Taylor Temple. Say goodnight. Good night, y'all!
Well, and thank you to Marty the intern and Tyler Temple for those special call-outs. And to the audience out there, if people want to create call-out segments, set up interviews, feel free, just reach out to us here at Firing Line and make sure we need to know details. We do need to keep them within time. So check in with that. But on that, obviously, we are more than happy to have people. It's Taylor. Sorry. It's been a long night, sir. Anyway, and speaking of long nights, we still have to get through Warzone. And
yes,
so
long nights, and we're only halfway done.
We're done, yeah. So let's see how we can get through this section of the show as we get ready for the go home show, the final show in MNW before Multivania, not counting Firing Line itself, MNW Warzone. And let's start right off the bat with the Warzone showcase match featuring Gore Wheel, Juan Chance, the Doctor of Albinomics, the Battleground Champion Sasquatch Wing, Nice Ice, the one half of the Tag Team Champions Flame Revenant, DJ Milsner, and the shocking surprise of the night, former Shoot Nation member Devin. And Devin coming out. We haven't seen Devin since he and Suplex Sam were kicked out of Nakama Worldwide. And then Sam, of course, left him behind to go join VIP. And now Devin's back, and Devin's full of attitude. Meanwhile, you have Sasquatch Wing kicking One Chance's head into the ring post. And at that point, the 3 count is pretty much just a mercy. And then Milsner getting a base drop on the Doctor of Albinomics. And the Doctor of Albinomics out of the match, and then there were 6. And the Flame Revenant doing a power bomb straight on Nice Ice. Thus the Siberian Cyborg out of the match. And as action between Flame Revenant and Milsner happened in the ring, and hitting a crucifix slam is Sasquatch Wing, and thus he gets a 3 count on the Toxic Wastelander Gore Wheel. Thus we get down to 4, and it's been a brutal match. And finally, Devin gets a submission hold on DJ Milsner and taps out the funky beat. And then I think this is a moment people want to see Sasquatch Wing against Flame Revenant. And, you know, Flame Revenant versus 16 cups of Squatch Roast? I don't think so. But you get an STF from Devin on Sasquatch Wing. Now let's
maybe it should have been 17 cups.
He should have been. Well, I'd like to point out Devin used that STF in his first ever singles match on the Creation and tapped him out. Devin has always been a tough competitor, and I know a lot of people give him a lot of grief for having been the only man ever pinned by a jobber. And I think he's come back to say, you know what, screw you all, I'm coming back to make a name for myself. And as part of that name he is looking to make, Devin looking for a spot on the Multivania card, and, you know, ask and you shall receive. He is getting a Shoot Nation face-off. Devin will face his former partner, Suplex Sam, at Multivania. With that, let's go ahead and move on next. And moving on, this next match... Well, this next match features Nakano Kirishima versus XR Kun. Why? Because Kirishima got a pinfall on the Sith Lord in last week's showcase match. Also getting tweeting out on social media is Sasquatch Wing, one Toxic Wastelander and one of Chained Hell got message. When Multivania come, all odds will get tag team belts. All odds will be first tag team with more belts than wastes. I mean, fair.
Sure.
I mean, I'm kind of pulling for the all odds. But right now, let's focus on this match: the Sith Lord versus the Delinquent. I guess he's Japanese descent, but from Brooklyn, is what I seem to have been able to gather.
Okay.
I mean, he's got a Brooklyn accent. We've heard that. So I guess, which is fine. I mean, New York is a very diverse city. It's not as strange as you may think, folks. But still, it's one thing to come in. It's one thing to make an immediate splash. It's another thing to face one of the original MNW competitors, part of the first class.
Right.
I mean, Pete has been working, going through the archives to kind of become our history expert here on MNW, and you've been telling me about the early, what you found in the early days of XR Kun, along with the likes of Grim and Fear Strikes.
Oh, sure. Well, and XR Kun's been, as we said, he has been here. He's one of the original members, so.
And here he gets his victory. But he's definitely looking ahead. He's got other people in his sights. In particular, the Sith Lord has issue with his former fellows in the Faces of Fear. In particular, well, one person in particular is got his ire, and that is Dr. Grimm, who right after that match came to the ring, grabbed a microphone, and said the following.
Good to see so many of you with your jaws open 2 weeks ago. When a plan comes to fruition, there is nothing like it. But Chaz mentioned last week we've been 3 steps ahead the entire time. It's not a challenge anymore. It used to be, but not now. I've sent clowns after the multiverse. I've destroyed futures that no longer exist, and now in this timeline, I have formed every faction and created every entity I have ever desired. What is there left for me to do? Perhaps the only thing left is to make an impact inside these ropes. So I believe it's time for me to stop sitting on the sidelines, for that is boring. What do I look like, Dr. Caliban? I can fight my own battles. So XR, it seems you have issue with the way you were played. At Multivania, I will make sure that you are never played again, because I will break you.
So there you have it. At Multivania, XR Kun versus Dr. Grimm. I'm thinking of certain movie taglines I've seen before there, Pete. Are you
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the movie tagline for a movie Jason versus Freddy?
Yes, but remind me.
Whoever wins, we lose. Yeah. That's yeah. So, but it's going to be, that's going to be a hell of a match. XR Kun versus Dr. It's a case of, if either of those were in a ring against any other opponent, I'd be favoring them. But them against each other? The Sith Lord versus the supervillain? Who do you choose? Dr. Grimm's not kidding when he, Dr. Grimm is responsible for a universal collapse that led to the formation of the Multiversal Nexus that we all now reside in and have wrestling take place in. when he said about his creation, that wasn't hyperbole. He did that. There's still speculation that Dr. Grimm is the one who actually put the Beast Hyrule brain in the creation's body, which makes that Dr. Caliban call out all the more chilling. I'm and on the other hand, a Sith Lord, a master of the Force. So I will be watching that match with great anticipation. But now, so we saw earlier the determinations of who would be going up against the Bone Warriors in 4-on-4 action to get a shot at those. Am I looking at the right? Hang on, I think I'm getting my. Let me look at my card real quick. I may be getting my matches mixed up. It happens sometimes. It's been a long night.
And there's a lot of.
Yeah, let's just go to this next match. It features Kane and Mega Blitz.
Mega Blitz, 49 pounds.
Carcharodon.
215 pounds.
Rapture New Road.
And Destiny.
And the reunited Lucha on the Rocks, Glycerius and Bart Ender.
One night only, no encores.
Yeah, and Ignatius. And what's happening here, from what I can tell, this is a kind of a thrown together 4-on-4 tag match. And there is an opportunity on the line. But what it is these men, this match itself is just a warm-up match, because all 8 of these competitors will be in an 8-man Big Oof championship match to go after Bart Ender's Big Oof championship, including, let's remember, the former Big Oof champion Mega Blitz X, the man he took the belt off of. So much in this match, but this is just another Multivania warm-up match.
Well, and there was, like, as you said, there's some odd team-ups here. I mean, most notably, of course, as we said, is the one night only return of Lucha on the Rocks.
Yeah, but I think because my understanding is it's. I mean, just kind of threw together teams. I'm pretty sure it's Kane teaming up with Mega Blitz.
Kane teaming up with Mega Blitz, Carcharodon teaming up with Rapture New Road, Glycerius teaming up with Bart Ender, and Ignacio Cervantes teaming up with Sparrow.
Yeah. And in the end, as we've said many times, in a tag match, it's going to be the tag teams that's used to each other that's going to have the advantage.
Yep. And this is the one tag team with experience.
Yeah. And so, unsurprisingly, really, Glycerius and Bart Ender take the win, which that means that the Big Oof champion himself is going into Multivania with momentum.
Yep.
And that is, it's always great going in with momentum. Especially, if you're in a multi-man, as we said earlier in this evening, if you're going in to a championship bout and it's a multi-man match and you're the champ, you're coming in at a huge disadvantage. And so this, all pulling for Bart Ender to see if he can hold on to that belt. Now, in the meantime, we got another match that looks like it's going to be coming up at Multivania. Another champion coming to the ring to lay out a challenge, and that champion is our Warp Gate hardcore champion, Ginger Boy.
So I've got a bit of a problem, because ever since I won this fucking belt, all it's been on Twitter is why, Ginger? Fucking why? The reason I screwed Trash Man out of the Warp Gate hardcore title and then ripped it off of Gorm is because I'm showing you what a champion really looks like. That's why I did what I did. Because this shit sucks, and it's time for a change. Because I don't give a fuck what any of you think. I don't give a fuck what that locker room thinks. The only locker room that I've ever given a damn about is the one I can't go back to because of a fucking draft. And McMorgan, you want to talk your shit? You couldn't get the job done, you fucking git. So I'll tell you what, bring your lame ass to Multivania, and I'm gonna shove me foot where the sun don't shine and send you back to the fucking show. Fucking Flashbang forever!
It's moments like this glad we have an adult rating on the show.
Yeah. It was a vocal promo, very vocal,
very vocal, very vocal. So, very, very London, I would even say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, with that, the next match, kind of I don't know if grudge match is the right word, but Papusa PI has been doing a lot of investigative work, trying to uncover the identity of the masked individual that had been attacking people, particularly Zacho Duo, costing the main event mech a title opportunity, and just generally raising a little havoc. And it was then revealed that that person was none other than Chaz Lee, turning his back on High Voltage and forming a new faction with, I guess if you know the backstage politics, it's not surprising, but I think the audience was surprised. The formation of a group known as the Murder Cave. Chaz Lee, Arkolf, Grizzly Adams, and Dr. Grimm. With this match being Grizzly Adams versus Papusa PI as a form of payback for the revelation of their antics perhaps earlier than they had anticipated. But this group, you look at this group, it's Grizzly Adams, former heavyweight champion. Arkolf, former heavyweight champion. Exarchun, former heavyweight champion.
Oh, and a knee right to the knee.
Well, Exarchun's not a member. Exarchun came out with Papusa. I'm sorry, I got confused for a second.
Yeah.
Because he's mad at Grimm, not a former heavyweight champion, but you know who is a former heavyweight champion? We're a current heavyweight champion. That's right. It's Chaz Lee. The only person that hasn't held the big strap in the Murder Cave thus far is Grimm. And I think that's largely because Grimm's plans are on a grander scale than mere holding of belts. But the Sith Lord playing Sith mind tricks on the ref, unfortunately, in response to that, I think the ref was so just stunned that the Murder Cave was able to get away with that. I'm like, I'm not sure. Well, it did result in Arkolf being ejected from ringside. But still, and just when you thought, oh, it's all over for Papusa, because again, this is Grizzly Adams, former heavyweight champion, former leader of the new Four Horsemen, War Incarnate.
But he got the cuffs locked in.
He got the cuffs locked in, and then he gets the cuff locked in. He taps out, and just for insult to injury, a tombstone for good measure. I don't think anyone expected Papusa to come out of that match with the victory. But he did, and that's I think that says more about the will of Papusa. Let's face it, Papusa hasn't, of late, we just haven't seen him in action as much. But it's worth remembering he was an important force of order in keeping things from spiraling out of control during the reign of the Inquisition. So people have to remember, you don't sleep on Papusa. Nope. Well, with so much going on at Multivania, and as we said, so many people wanting to stake their claims to various parts of the show. There is one person, a person, let's be honest, way at the top of the card on any show he's on, who had something to say. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's the VI Pharaoh, Ozir Turan.
It would seem that there are a lot of challenges being thrown around all over the place, but no one is talking about the VI Pharaoh. And this, I am throwing my hat in the mega Money in the Bank because Ozir Turan belongs at the top of this company. And on top of that, the absolute units like to absolutely run their mouth whenever they get a chance. It seems you boys need an opponent for Multivania. Well, congratulations, boys. You found it. And when all the dust settles at Multivania, we will be the ones standing victorious over all of you. All of the gold will revolve around the one true stable, VIP.
Can you imagine Ozir Turan with the mega money in the big bank?
I could. I'd rather not.
Yeah, this is a top competitor. This is a man who is absolutely already in the world title scene. He is acknowledged as Warzone's greatest technical wrestler. He is one of the most devastating forces. And to be honest, it's kind of a surprise he hasn't held the belt already. And if you give him the case, and he has a chance to pick his moment when he gets to cash in, if he went, I don't see anyone beating him in that circumstance. Now, fortunately, Mega Money in the Big Bank match, it's a ladder match, so it's not a match type that favors him. And we're hearing from Forrest, the Fortress. VIP has made things personal now. There will be blood. Yeah, folks, there's been some reports of stuff that's happened. You may want to pay attention to the Multivania pre-show on the MNW YouTube channel. There's definitely been some developments there. VIP, they made a statement, as Ozir said they would, because, well, what we know now is, somebody has to challenge for the Trios Championships belts after Multivania. And we'll get more into that later. That's coming up. But first, let's go into another match that's of very interest, because you know who recently returned after a hiatus? Los Bell Bros, teaming up with Ginger Boy to take on the Conquest Bloodline. So it's really interesting actually seeing this. I mean, the Bloodline have been a cohesive unit for a while. Sam Jax, obviously former Nexus Titan champion, Gorm, former Warpgate champion, and many people have just looked at the ascent of the Bloodline. If you heard our call out earlier, you also heard many strong comments from Lady Boots, who we'll be seeing later in the show. But you've got the former tag champions Los Bell Bros coming back looking stronger than ever. And being aligned with Ginger Boy. It's all, it is an alliance that, when you have two brothers who practice lucha and then a right bastard from the United Kingdom. I mean, it's almost like it's a triangle of mortality.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That one needs to be workshopped a little.
Sure. Yeah. My understanding is I've been hearing the name Three Kings. Is there?
Yeah, that is correct. I have heard they are referring to themselves as the Three Kings. You know, the current Warpgate Hardcore Champion, former Flashbang World Champion Ginger Boy, as we said, former Tag Champions Los Bell Bros, and the Bell Bros win. Despite the fact that they're up against Gorm and Carnival, absolute power. And, you know, a new energy and attitude coming from Flyboy. He says he is now a man that knows no fear.
Apparently all it took was painting the part of his face that wasn't wearing a mask.
Yeah, just going full conceal, and he's, you know, he says all his fear is zeroed out.
Mm.
So, I mean, pretty amazing. And I mean, that's already the Lost Bell Bros, who's always been a favorite of ours.
Oh, sure.
So, well, somebody else, you know what? We heard from Ozir Turan making his declaration for the Mega Money in the Big Bank match. So, with that, obviously, somebody else is going to have to come down and say something to that effect. And who better than a man who recently, a man who holds another briefcase. It's Mr. Old Money in the Bank himself, Sir Unkley Dunk.
Yes, decisions to be made, decisions all around. So many wonderful decisions, like, you know, getting rid of Maximilian Van der Thies off of a bloated payroll. We know what that's like up north, don't we? People being released from contracts everywhere. Oh, capitalism at its finest, I do think. Maximilian Van der Thies, all you have to do to get your hands on me is win a match here tonight against an opponent I have handpicked. I'll even tell you who it is. You know them very, very well. Max, you have to beat Unga Bunga. Because he's your
Hey, sorry to interrupt, but, you know, Unkley, I guess I had to come out here because I feel like that's a little bit much. Like, I'll tell you what, I volunteer instead of Unga. I'll do it. I'll fight Max. Like, that's...
No, oh, McCheese, you don't... No, so this is tactical warfare. No, so... You see, Max is trying to assault the castle, so to speak, and so I'm trying to divide and conquer, and if they are acting...
I mean, yeah, but they're only coming after you because you're trying to shut down the hospital. Like, what are those kids gonna do? I don't know, Unkley. It doesn't feel right, and so I wanted to come out here and I wanted to volunteer. Like, I get it's kind of a weird situation, but I'll fight him. You don't have to do the Unga thing. I volunteer as tribute from, like, you know, like the movie.
If Maximilian wants to fight for the hospital, he needs to earn it. I'll tell you what, McSheens, I'll put the hospital on the line if he can beat Unga. That's a fair deal, isn't it?
I mean, I guess that's better, but if you have all this money, and again, I don't know how you do because I thought we lost all that last Multivania, but like, good on you, I guess, good investment.
Look, I still value your friendship, so why don't we do this? Why don't we forget this whole conversation happening? We can go backstage, we can watch the show, we don't have to worry about anything. I'm not on the card, you're not on the card. It'll be like old times, like the old Republic, you know? Oh.
Well, actually, that's the other reason I came out here, because we are on the card. I don't know if you saw the updates, but it's if you walk through the curtain, they actually updated it. Mr. Butler is going to be taking on Probunaga because he's really upset, and I tried to talk him out of it, but he still has some pull upstairs. So yeah, sorry about that. I told him it was a bad idea. Unkley, I'm gonna be in Probunaga's corner because you replaced me with like a giant lady boots person, except they're a guy and their mask is really scary. Like, I don't judge you for what you're into, but like, that kind of hurt, man. I guess I'll see you later. Goodbye, Unkley.
Is it me, or is Sir McCheese just too pure for this world?
Probably too pure for many worlds.
Yeah, he you know, yeah, it feels bad. I know that he accidentally initiated the hat crisis, but it was for the best intentions, and I know he got, tricked into misusing his money in the bank because he was convinced he was doing the honorable thing, and but it's all because this good-natured kid. I mean, you kind of just you want to see him. You know what I want to see? You know what I really want to see? I want to see a Saturday morning kids show featuring him and Brawl Kaiser.
Ooh, yeah.
The adventures, the Sentai Knights, the adventures of Brawl Kaiser and Sir McCheese.
I feel like you could throw Max in there.
Max would probably do well in that grouping. Yeah, that would. Max would be like the person giving them missions.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, but enough. I mean, enough of that. I mean, yeah, it probably would get good ratings too. I mean, I'd watch it anyway. Enough of that flight of fancy. We've got matches, and this next one, well, it absolutely needs a no setup because we just heard Ozir Turan making comments about it. It's a prelude to that match to determine who's going to take on the trio spell champions. It's the Beef coming down with VIP to take on Absolute Washington, joined by the Absolute Units. And yeah, this is what a way to set this up. I mean, these are the teams that will be facing each other. And Washington's not happy when his hair starts glitching.
When reality starts distorting around his mere presence of his hair.
I mean, it's pretty impressive hair. We're gonna have to see if we can dig up that the Absolute Hair Care commercial again at some point because it exists.
Now a jawbreaker to Beef. And now Beef looking for some control with his sexplex.
And but the beef looking for the action. The Beef looking to get that pin on the one, the only
Washington stays alive.
Absolute Washington.
Now trying to go after that turnbuckle.
And here we see him taking the buckle off, but in the end, we noticed that it really didn't have much effect because right after that, we go here.
Yeah, it was like good initiative there, Beef. Good initiative, but you know what? Absolute Washington has. He has absolute ring awareness.
The absolute bomb.
He's not going to fall for something as simple as a loose turnbuckle. And as long as he keeps the ref from noticing it himself, he can get a pinning predicament on the Beef and get a victory. So the Absolute Units going into Multivania with the momentum, the Big Mo. They are going to go to the show and they are going to challenge, of all people, VIP to go after those tag belts at a future Flashbang event, taking on either Doom or AAA, depending on who wins this weekend. And of course, we know we've gotten some reports that things have happened. We'll follow up on that this weekend around Multivania time. But in the meantime,
perhaps during our pre-show.
Yeah, I think our pre-show is a good time to cover stuff like that. I really do. So. Again, for those of you wanting to tune in this weekend, before the start of Multivania, both days, there will be a pre-show on the MNW YouTube channel at 11 a.m. Pacific time, both days. It will be hosted by myself and my broadcast partner, Pete McPherson, and we're going to be joined by a third special commentator during the event. We're going to be joined by one Spencer Getty. Folks may not know Spencer. Spencer does a lot of work maintaining the MNW YouTube channel, and he's going to be joining us on commentary for that special event. It's you don't want to miss it. We're going to have some special dark matches before the show. So if you're somebody, if you have a favorite wrestler who's not on the card for Multivania, maybe check out that pre-show. You might be surprised. We're also might be having some special events, some special, we might be seeing some matches from the indies. Now, I already hear we've got some exciting matches that we're going to be sharing to you from, I know we were going to have one match from a great promotion known as NNPW, and we're going to have another match from a promotion I never heard of before called the Maelstrom. And we might have, apparently it's some kind of special performance. Somebody who, I heard something about somebody who maybe should be considered for the dance-off, but probably won't be.
For all of our sakes. Let's be
I mean, I know I've been
beautiful.
doing some
It
reading.
really is, but.
And I'm like, it seems a little crazy, but hey. And then I read another one. It's like, I had to be a typo. Had to be a typo, one of these matches we got. I mean, there's no way it was who they were saying it was. I didn't even know that they had a deal with New Japan. Anyway, we should get on with the show. But it's going to be amazing. You should check it out this upcoming weekend before Multivania at the MNW YouTube channel. All right. Well, as it was, we have somebody who another person coming down to make a declaration for Multivania. This time, it is the hero of MNW. It is Daverman.
So first of all, I wanted to come out here and I wanted to say congratulations to Sparrow. I haven't had the appropriate opportunity to express my gratitude for being able to have a sidekick alongside me for these past couple of months. And I could not be more thrilled by what they are going to do by bringing home the Big Oof title to the Sentinels. An evil begins to rise up. A rot that has been underneath the surface of MNW has finally started to eat away at the foundation. Chaz Lee, you cannot leave Multivania with that championship. And there's really only one way that I can guarantee that it doesn't leave in your hands. And that is by winning the Mega Money in the Bank ladder match, which I am officially entering my name into. With so much at stake, I need to make sure that this rot is taken care of once and for all. The Murder Cave cannot be allowed to sprout roots like the Hats did. Trust me, I know. I'll see you at Multivania.
So there we have Daverman now declaring his entrance into the Mega Money in the Big Bank match. So for those
also
of you,
kind of issuing a warning to the locker room.
Yeah. Well, so here's what we have right now for those of you paying attention. Mega Money in the Big Bank match will be an 8-man match. We currently have 6 competitors declared, but that means there's going to be 2 surprise entrants. Those 6 competitors are Semjax, Alpha Kong, Trice, Azir Turan, Daverman, and Aiden Zero. As we said, 2 more entrants, 2 surprise entrants will be announced at the time the match takes place. With that, it's time. So we heard earlier from McCheese of a match featuring the butler of Uncle Dunk facing off against the glorious Emperor Probanaga. And a lot of people, we've seen Butler before, but never quite like this. Apparently, he upgraded his mask to take on Probanaga. And there's a little concern because, that hat that Uncle is wearing is, in fact, an eldritch abomination that only his bloodline can keep in check. And we know that Probanaga was, his family were the keeper of many eldritch artifacts. Now, a lot of those ended up in the possession of the Empire, which might be disbanding this weekend.
Back elbow.
And that just leads me to wonder,
Look out here. Butler.
is that mask just a mask?
It's a good question.
I hope it's just a mask. I want to believe it's just a mask. But also, this is, I mean, we know Mr. Butler's competed once before, but I think this is Butler's first singles match.
I think you are correct.
I think the last time he was a tag team partner for Unkley. But apparently that mask is no defense against a good mind your tongue. As Probanaga brings it to the Butler and proves why he's the glorious one.
Yeah, he just got his fingers right in there. Just yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's a skill. There's a reason why he's a top competitor.
Unkley is just disgusted.
Well, I've heard that. I think there was a facsimile squad. I'm not taking anything for granted at this point.
Yeah, better be safe than sorry.
We're just going to assume that's the Eldritch hat, and we don't want to touch it. And again, I worry that mask. It just seems to be venomous. Anyway, we still have a ways to go. We're almost there. We're getting close, folks. So this next match, last week, Lady Boots won a match, a 4-way match for an opportunity to go up against Fierce Strikes for the Nexus Titan Championship. But that decision was thrown into question when it turned out she was not the original scheduled combatant, that she had in fact taken out that original scheduled combatant. More of that in our main event of the evening. But until then, she did get the right to come to the ring and face the Nexus Titan champion himself. And if she wins, the Nexus Titan match becomes a 3-way dance with her, Fierce Strikes, and whoever wins the main event. And as you heard earlier this evening on the call-out, Lady Boots staking a claim. She doesn't want to just be a manager. She doesn't want to be on the side. She wants in the ring. And here she goes, taking on the Terror Angel himself. And the Terror Angel is showing no quarter, showing her the respect of treating her as a legitimate threat.
Absolutely.
Knowing that she is somebody. I mean, she trains with the Bloodline. She has a great deal of power in her own right. Takes a lot of will to manipulate a stand. It's not something you just, do on a whim. My understanding, even manifesting that in this section of the multiverse is quite something. But she's definitely looking for, to get the hands-on experience. And with this, I mean, she facing off, going after Fierce Strike, showing again and again, getting him into pinning predicaments. But in the end, there is a reason why the Terror Angel has been holding on to that belt.
And now Fierce Strike's finally able to reverse. Looking for the figure 4.
Yep. No, she definitely had a very strong attempt here. It was, and as you said, clearly Fierce Strikes was not going to treat them any differently.
Not at all. And in the
ultimately, though.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Fall into fear.
Yeah, fall into fear. I mean, he. Yeah, again, this is another one of our originals in Fear Strikes. And the Angel of Fear manages to come out on top. So he will face the winner of tonight's main event But Lady Boots attempt to make that a three-way dance. Now, that does not mean we have not heard anything official, but it would not surprise me if we see her somewhere at Multivania. Perhaps. I have no special knowledge. It's just a bit of hope.
Just a hunch.
Yeah. Well, with that, coming into, I would say we're coming into the home stretch, but this next match is one we heard about earlier in the evening. It was a challenge laid out by Uncle Dunk for Maximilian Thunderthighs to get his hands on Uncle at Multivania for the fate of the hospital. All Maximilian Thunderthighs has to do is beat his tag team partner in Thunga Bunga, Unga Bunga. And this hurts. These two, in the short time they've been working together, have become very good friends. Apparently they are of like minds, and they the last thing either wanted to do was face each other, but it was the requirement. And as was stated, it was made clear that Unga could not just throw the match; he had to make an attempt. Unfortunately, Uncle Dunk, being Uncle Dunk,
leave well enough alone.
Yeah, and when you got money, that means you can have outlaws. Clearly, CJR Killer paid to do a quick hit on Max. Thank goodness Max is strong as a bull. I mean, and I'm not kidding, he has actually gone and done training with Satiris and Labris from Flashbang to toughen himself up. So, he's strong enough to survive training with Minotaurs. But Unga Bunga has that agility and strength that comes from I'm assuming it's a Paleolithic diet.
Sure, that's just safe to assume.
Yeah. He's got to have. But fortunately, Max, even though Unga did put up the effort, it gave an honest attempt. Max secures the victory, and thus he will face Uncle Dunk at Multivania, and whoever wins that match gains control of the fate of the children's hospital. So let's be honest, Max is fighting for the kids.
Well, because as luck would have it, a certain lawyer was paying close attention, and he had a few words to say about Uncle Dunk's attempts to cement the results of that.
Yeah, let's go hear about that right now.
I should have figured that something was up your sleeve, Uncle Dunk. That was quite a display. I believe you tweeted out, "What a waste of money." I'll tell you what's a waste of money. Your investment in that worthless hospital in the first place. At Multivania, the hospital will still be on the line, but it will be competed in an 8-man tag team match. Sir Uncle Dunk, Mr. Butler, and the Outlaws versus Maximilian Thunderthighs, Unga Bunga, and the Republic. So you, Mr. Uncle Dunk, can take that to the bank. Oh, and by the way, it's an elimination tag team match. It looks like Chaz has something on his mind.
Mr. Lawson, good to see you come back here. It's nice to see you getting involved in Warzone affairs now. Not that it's really your jurisdiction. I assume you're just speaking on the brass's behalf, because it would be a shame if they thought you were overstepping your bounds making that match. No, I was more wondering if you had heard about the match that's coming up next. I don't know if you've checked the card recently on the way out here. They've made some updates as we move throughout the night. I'm sure you're in the loop, though, right? Because it'd be weird if I knew something that you didn't know. That'd be one of those, I'm a couple steps ahead again. That's just silly.
Yes, I'm aware that Meme is taking on High Voltage in a 6-man tag match, and I'm well aware that I had no business making that match. Clearly the brass had someone else in their ear. Well played, Mr. Lee. But now it's my turn. Maybe there should be a stipulation added onto that triple threat match, one that none of you can prepare for. Just something to put into your head. Something that you might have to mull about. What kind of match will it be? Or will there be a stipulation at all, Mr. Lee? What if I not only added a stipulation, but a special guest referee? I think I know just the person who hates all three of your guts. That would certainly make it interesting, because I already know in triple threat matches, there are no disqualifications. So a special enforcer makes sense in case the Murder Cave, or Meme, or High Voltage wants to stick their nose where it doesn't belong. Tell me, Mr. Lee, what am I going to do at Multivania? I guess you'll have to wait and see.
So, Lawson with some strong words for Chesley. Special enforcer.
A special guest referee.
Yeah. Also, on top of that, of course, making it a 4-on-4 match for the Fate of the Hospital. Uncle Dunk, the Butler, and the Outlaws versus Thunderbunga and the Republic. And to speak on that matter, on the phone now, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Maximilian Thunderthighs.
Good evening, Firing Line, and good evening, fans around the world. How are we all doing tonight?
We're great. So, Max, what do you think? You've got a match coming up this weekend for the Fate of the Hospital. How are you feeling going into that?
There is a mixed bag of emotions going on right now, and I certainly would love to say more. But considering the long night you've had, I'll keep my words brief. I'm conflicted, upset, happy, and very, very determined to get back the hospital.
Well, that's that would surprise no one, Max. So with that, do you have anything really quick you want to say to anyone before we move on with the night?
I do. As much as Unkley has done absolutely appalling things, his moral will be tested on this Multivania. He is but a string to the puppet master. You knew he would do that, didn't you? And I bet you wore a wicked smile watching us fight. And after I go down and I annihilate Unkley Dunk's team, all 4 of them, you're next. You know who you are. But for everybody else, I will do my best, and I will get back to hospital. Look for Thunderbunga and the Republic to take this 4-0.
All right. Well, thank you, Maximilian Thunderthighs, and good luck this weekend at Multivania.
Thank you for having me, and have a lovely evening, you two. Goodbye.
Goodbye. All right. Well, from one of the goodest beans in the multiverse too. Well, you know what? I'm going to let him describe himself. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Warzone audio promo of the week. It's the one, the only, Zocco Duo.
Warzone, May 8th, 2021.
It's as if Zocco Duo's constant bitching has somehow affected everybody in a negative manner.
I'm sorry. Run that one back by me again?
It's as if Zocco Duo's constant bitching has somehow affected everybody in a negative manner.
Newsflash, C-.
You never needed my help for that one.
But sure, let's put all the blame, all the worry, all the burden of carrying Warzone on my back. I'll carry it. Chaz, Jake, I'll save you two for later. For tonight, I'm shaking some of this weight off. This company And you fucking morons at home can think of me as, oh, boo-hoo, he's the guy with daddy issues who touches dicks. Let's point and laugh at his emotional trauma and behind-the-scenes struggles he faces and drinks to every Saturday night. At Multivania, the world title match isn't about me anymore. This is about fighting for every person who has had to suffer the indignity of being punished, pushed down the card, strangled, and gaslighted for having an individual thought that the leaders of this company refuse to listen to. For the wrestlers who are having their identities sold away like an auction just because they have lives outside the ring, outside of the audience. Faces of Fear, Murder Cave, whatever you want to call them, are just a face value problem I have to fight. If Jake wants to stand in my way, I'll be more than happy to hit his off switch and put him out of his misery. And I'm predicting the question in your heads at home. Does this make Zako a hero or a villain? I'm neither. I am a machine. I am righteousness. I am fury incarnate. At Multivania, I will fight with every drop of violent venom in my core until I stand as Multiverse Heavyweight Champion.
And with that, let's go to this match that features the main event Mex.exe facing off against High Voltage. A match because Justice Jake and Zako Duo will be in a three-way dance for Chaz Lee's heavyweight championship. So before we get there, this is the warm-up match, as everyone is looking for that spot, looking for the going into Multivania with momentum. And let's not forget that both High Voltage in the form of Wonderball and Leonid Sanchez and main event Mex, Sawyer and Malice will also be going against the Murder Cave, Grizzly and Arkoff, for in a special tag team match. So this is going to be a slobber knocker, as somebody likes to say, because you know what, somebody's got to face off against Chained Hell for those belts.
I've seen several people getting busted open this match.
I mean, it's, you know, when you've got, you know, when you're facing Mex, and when you're facing, I mean, blood happens. People will bleed. He's called Pure Malice for a reason. But in the meantime, and how symbolic, Zako Duo gets a pinfall on Justice Jake, so that Zako and the main event Mex.exe are the ones going into Multivania with the momentum. It's going to be quite a night, Pete. Quite a night.
Yeah, gonna question if this is a sign of things to come or just for tonight only.
I mean, if you ask Zako Duo, it's how it's going to go down. And Zako has the one. I mean, you can argue Zako has enough. And let's give Zako his due. He has every right to be pissed. He has been screwed. He has, you know, he has been manipulated. He is, in this situation, the injured party. Now, Jake is mad too, but Jake is mad at straight up betrayal from Chaz Lee to High Voltage. But he wasn't the one that Chaz Lee has spent the last several months screwing with. So, and then of course you've got Chaz Lee, who apparently we never knew the man.
Apparently
but
not.
Now we do. Well, Pete, we have one last match to cover, and it will determine who will face Fear Strikes for the Nexus Titan Championship. So we know from last week, the first three competitors, the Vin Smoke, Louis McDonald, and Wilson, son of Will. And finally, the person who was supposed to be in that match last week, Kelly. So it was. So it's not just that Lady Boots took out the fourth competitor. She took out Kelly, who we already know is, as she put it herself, her favorite plaything. And this match, I mean, you've got the former heavyweight champion, former two-time heavyweight champion, Vince Smoke, former Nexus Titan champion, Louis McDonald, former Big Oof champion, Wilson, and then Kelly, leader of the Omega Club. And that, you know, is the elimination, the first elimination of the match goes to Louis McDonald getting rid of Wilson. And then there
at least he's got that going for him.
I mean, you got to, you know, I know that we are talking about one of the most hated men in the multiverse in Louis McDonald, but yeah, at least he eliminated Wilson. Well, that's a question. Who's more hated, Wilson or Louis?
As that is,
I think Wilson,
maybe we should have a match to find out, and that way we all win.
I mean, I'll say this:
both get beat up.
Wilson's more annoying, but
sure,
is he as hated? I know that's a question that might need to be settled. Either way, they've both been eliminated early on. It's now Kelly versus Vince Smoke. Kelly would be the first woman to go for after one of the MNW titles if she wins this match. But she is against Vince Smoke, former leader of Omega Club, and as we said, two-time heavyweight champion. You do not take Vince Smoke Sanji lightly. You do so at your risk. This was the man who had the best eye for talent in the multiverse in putting together the original Omega Club. And with that, he had that patented super kick of his, hitting the button on Kelly.
But Kelly,
I mean, it's about, on the other hand,
somehow
Kelly is, if nothing,
made him work for it.
Resilient. Yeah, as is being pointed out, this is the former leader of Omega Club versus the current leader of Omega Club. The only thing that would make this more poignant is if one of those other competitors had actually been D4C twice.
Yep.
But with that second kick, Vince Smoke pulls out the victory. Vince Smoke Sanji is going to Multivania to go after the Nexus Titan Championship. And this is a contender I would not sleep on for his chance to take on the Terror Angel.
Smoke Sanji!
And so, thus, the main event comes to an end. This is the last match before Multivania, barring any dark matches that we may have in the pre-show. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Vince Smoke. And this you gotta wonder, what's this going to lead to next?
Well, I mean, Multivania.
Multivania, obviously. Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that leads us to just one last thing, and that is the Warzone moment of the week. But before we get there, ladies and gentlemen, one more word from our sponsor.
Are you having trouble up there? Can't seem to keep it up in form? Does no amount of gel or jelly seem to even keep it stiff? Well, have no fear, because Absolute Hair Care is here. Absolute Hair Care is a service dedicated to ensure that you have a quality and style that makes you look not only great, but also looks good even when you get pile-driven in the ring. With a vast assortment of gels, putty sprays, shoes, shampoos, and conditioners, we'll guarantee you'll have the freshest dew in the multiverse. We cater to Yakiniku Party, Blue Dandy, Goldwheel, Raphael Sampson, the founder himself, Absolute Washington, and even people like Trash Man.
Name redacted.
We even have live testimonies from the judge of MNW himself, Raphael Sampson.
Lo, if the Lord is my witness, I'm amazed at how soft and how strong my mane has become, similar to the days of old, when my namesake, Samson, proved his strength with his locks to all those around him. So I too prove the power of my hair by keeping it from damage done by inadequate salon products and being brought headfirst into the floor.
Thank you, Your Honor. To get your appointment, call 1-800-ABSOLUTE today. We eagerly await your call. And remember, can't return to your roots? Get absolute.
And introducing 8th, weighing in at 244 pounds, Devin! Well, look who's back on Warzone! Decked out in his old Shoot Nation gear, Devin is number 8! And it looks like Devin is once again sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's? But why? Well, this just became a stacked match, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to announce that at Multivania, the match that has been months in the making, the match we didn't know we wanted, it's going to be Devin one-on-one with Suplex Sam at Multivania, and he's looking to knock off some ring rust and maybe one of Sam's faction mates.
And there you have it. So, there's a question out there about Money in the Bank and Multivania. So, yes, Money in the Bank briefcases can be cashed in at Multivania. And we know because last year, Justice Jake, that very night, won the Mega Money in the Big Bank match and cashed it in to take the belt off of Hat Smoke. Now, whether it can be used for both heavyweight titles, in other words, you're saying could it be used to take the belt off of Nero? That's a question for Mr. Lawson, I would say. The same with can the Money in the Bank, regular Money in the Bank, be used on multiple? And we know that Citra King cashed in his Money in the Bank to get the interdimensional, so probably, you know what? I think it's these are questions we have to run past a lawyer. Yeah. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, as we've said, we are now days away from Multivania this weekend, July 3rd and 4th, where we will, it's the biggest show of the year, and we are going to see epic, legends are made at Multivania. Legacies are created, champions are crowned, factions live and die at Multivania this weekend. Starting, so for people who've been asking the start time, the pre-show will begin at 11 a.m. on the MNW YouTube channel, and we will keep you posted. The start time for Multivania is targeting noon Pacific, but it may, for prep time, it may go as late as 1 p.m. for the start time. We will keep you posted on the pre-show as to when.
Basically, what's going to happen is that as we're doing the pre-show, we will be keeping an eye on things, and basically once the show is ready to get going, we can send you all packing over there. So we're like Caliban said,
I'm still
well.
And you know what? Let's do this real quick. Anyway, we will see you this weekend. For Pete McPherson, I'm Jerry Aldini. Good night. Okay, now we're really above game.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, no. Okay, guys, you don't know.
But yeah, so 12 to 1-ish, but basically as the way streams have been going lately, it's not a concrete start time because obviously there's prep and stuff involved. So 12 to 1 Pacific Standard Time.
So we'll keep an eye. We're going to keep on the channel, but Bosco also said he will behind the scenes be keeping me posted about where things are. So we will absolutely know on YouTube when it's starting, and we'll keep things posted. But we'll know when we know. which basically means, well, no one Bosco knows.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are. I'm trying to think what else we want to say about this weekend, because I don't know if you realize how tired Tim and I are. We've been working, we've been doing stuff getting ready for this too.
Yep.
Yeah, and huge weekend. Dark Wolf, yes. I will say yes.
Sure.
Dark Wolf asked, if he wants a promo on the pre-show, would it be easier to put it in Firing Line submissions? Yes. Also, we're going to use the Firing Line broadcast booth for the pre-show, which means if you're around and you're on the Multivania card and you want to come in for a segment before in the pre-show, line up just like you do for Firing Line. And again, at our discretion, we will perhaps bring you in for a pre-Multivania interview. And yeah, we're going to be showing matches from other of the community feds, so that as a chance on YouTube to promote more of the community.
Yep.
I think I don't know if I got anything else. Other than thanks everyone for bearing with me and all my technical faux pas and personality faux pas tonight.
And sleep. Mm-hmm. They're sleeping.
Yeah, I know. Hey, I mean, here's the thing. Even though we started 10 minutes late, we're basically ending on time.
Yeah.
So, I'll take that for what I can.
Damn.
All right, but as you can tell, we're really tired and we want to wrap up the night. So,
ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching the Multiverse Nexus Wrestling YouTube channel. If you like this video, go ahead and drop a like, share the video, subscribe to the channel for more, and ring that bell to get notified whenever we post a new video. This has been Joe, signing out.